Up with Angela Yee. I'm Angela Yee for a Wealth Wednesday with my partner, Stacey Tisdale.
Happy Wealth Wednesdays, everybody. And it is Real Estate Wealth Wednesdays. Woo!
Let's go, y'all.
Real Estate Club.
That's right.
We all have on our swag.
We have our other partner, Sam Ibrahim, here with us. I was just talking about it because we had Kyle from the Neighborhood Talk, who owns the Neighborhood Talk, on guest hosting. And I was like, Sarah, you got to get into this investing. So we had a whole good conversation about that. Because sometimes people are like, well, I don't know anyone who's doing that. I don't know this. But that's what this real estate club is all about.
Yep, you're part of a community of other like-minded people working towards the same goal of getting in the game, getting into real estate, and just starting that transfer of wealth to our community.
Like Stadina here.
That's
I know. Hello. Everybody, we challenged Sam at the beginning of the month to have Stadina and Anthony, who he partnered her with, into a new property by the end of Black History Month. It was his Black History Month challenge. Mm-hmm. So you guys got a couple more weeks.
Yeah, we're halfway through the month.
We've got a couple more weeks.
Yes, we have a couple more weeks.
So
there's only 28 days this month, so y'all had a limited
I know. It wasn't
she's
quite
a rock
fair.
star. She's on top of it. She's blazing through
Definitely
the
on
process.
top of it.
So start by telling our audience who's just tuning into this whole process about the property.
So this is a property in Springfield, Ohio. We've acquired the property. We're working on our lending right now. So that's kind of where we are in the process, but it's really a pretty quick process for this one. It's a clean out. The flip is not going to be too evasive as far as the work that it has to go into it. So it's a pretty nice property. Should be pretty quick and pain-free.
So it's going to be, the goal is for it to flip it?
So you're going to actually burr it, right? So for those of you that don't know what the burr process is when you buy it, renovate it, rent it out, refinance it to pull your cash out, and then you just repeat it to build your rental portfolio, to keep doing it over and over. So that's what she's doing. And this is the perfect cookie cutter home for that, because it's a small 2-bedroom, 800 square foot home, right? You can't spend that much on an 800 square foot home. And she's getting it for a deep discount to market value. So.
Okay. And so right now we're just trying to get to closing.
Yeah,
we're trying to get to
right,
closing.
yeah. This week,
Well, this
week, I remember your homework was a lot of paperwork.
Correct. Yeah, so a lot of paperwork. What LLC is this going in? And since I'm partnering with someone, we have an operating agreement that we have to, put in context of who's going to be doing what throughout this whole process of us partnering.
I think
or
you can
JVing
dwell on
together.
that, right?
Yeah,
So
I want to know.
Tell people about the partner and why you put them together.
Absolutely. So Stadina is partnering with Anthony. Anthony, he had some cash in his retirement account that he didn't realize he can actually access. So people don't realize that you have funds that you can access. If you got a job and you're getting a 401k or a pension or an IRA, you can actually tap into that right now. Not necessarily withdraw it and get penalized, but roll it over to a self-directed account so you can use that and decide to invest in real estate. And that's exactly what Anthony's doing. So
Wait, back up.
Yeah.
You can use, I know about borrowing against your 401k.
Sure.
And then you have a limited amount of time to pay it back, right?
Yeah.
In order to avoid
when you're borrowing. But if you roll it over, you roll it from let's say you have it at ABC company right now. All you're doing is rolling over to a self-directed account at a company that does that. There's a lot of them out there. That Midland IRA, Equity Trust. Those are just a couple of the many out there that I've used in the past. And you become the money manager. You decide what you want to invest in. So you want to buy real estate? Buy real estate with your retirement account. Now your retirement account owns the real estate, and all the profit that goes in tax-free or tax-deferred, depending which kind of account you have.
That is crazy.
It's amazing.
So just like I buy a stock for my 401k, I can buy real estate.
That's right.
Put it in my 401k, and I get all those tax advantages?
You can buy real estate. You can lend money out of it. If you decide, hey, I just want to sit back and lend money and be a private lender and get great interest rates, 10, 11, 12% on my money, you could do that. You essentially decide what asset you want to invest in. Is it going to be a loan? Is it going to be a property? Is it going to be a multifamily building? Are you going to fix and flip in it? And you get to do it in your retirement account. It's a huge loophole that a lot of people don't even know that's out there.
You see why you should join our real estate club?
That's right.
Who
Now,
knew that?
Stadina, tell us what's in this operating agreement and what your guys' responsibilities are, you and Anthony.
So we are partnering. He's going to bring, again, the cash. I'm going to bring the credit. And then we're going to kind of just split off the work that's going to be done, finding the contractors, making sure that the contractors are actually doing their work, and, kind of communicating back and forth. So a lot through Zoom calls, with the contractors, FaceTime calls, stuff like that, making sure that they're actually on top of the job getting things done, because we
You
had
gotta
the
keep your eye on them contractors.
exactly,
right. That's
exactly,
right.
yeah.
That's
So
right.
that's kind of the gist of it. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
just-
I think one of the biggest things you got to make sure you include in that operating agreement is the exit, right? So at the end
Divorce
of the deal,
before.
yeah, you want. I always say
It's
this.
a prenup.
You want to
Yes,
plan the
it
divorce
is.
before you get married,
Yeah.
because right now it's all gravy, right? So you guys are happy, you're excited to do the deal, but if there's tensions, if there's beef, because not everything goes always
tell me
according to
about it.
plan, right? If you already predetermine how that's going to be handled, that makes things way smoother. And take it for someone who's had a couple of experiences that didn't exactly always go according to plan. It's just business, right?
Absolutely.
So plan your divorce, how you guys will handle the separation in the operating agreement now, and that'll make your life way smoother in the unforeseen situation that something doesn't go according to plan.
So this was your
Absolutely.
paperwork homework, getting all
was.
this stuff in order.
Yes.
Talk about how much the club helped you, like how the resources, Sam, and how he's actually walking you through. Is he walking you through?
So yes, so the partner Black Knight has kind of been a lot of help, helping getting the operating agreement in alignment with the structuring and making sure we're both, fair on both sides of the transaction, and then we're just, making sure that we split the profits at the end. That'll be in there. What else is going to be in there?
So Black Knight was a referral that you guys got?
From the program. So
Okay.
Black Knight is the lender. They are going to be lending the funds to us. And so pretty much they had all my paperwork. So right now we're just kind of, because I've done other transactions,
So
they
they're
had
familiar
paperwork
with you,
from
so
me.
that made it quicker.
It makes it a little bit quicker. So right now they're just doing their due diligence, making sure, the appraisal looks good on, as far as, they want to make sure they make money. We're making money on the deal, because if nobody makes money, then nobody's happy at the end of the
Now,
deal.
here's a business question. In the operating agreement, are you under an LLC? Because it wouldn't be your
Correct.
personal. All right, so let's talk about that, too, for people who are listening and they're like, all right, I want to do an operating agreement, but do you create an LLC for each property that you buy?
So this one, we decided to just go ahead and use, because mine was strong, and we had already done deals, in that LLC. It just made sense to go ahead and use what we already had. It made the transaction much more smooth, because, again, they had all the paperwork already. So all they had to do was, run credit, make sure the credit was good, make sure that, they had everything from the past transactions, my own operating agreement, and then we'll just add Anthony onto that.
Okay.
And then, whatever we put in that operating agreement, like we said, 50-50 profit at the end. He'll be coming with the cash. I'll be coming with the credit. We'll both be splitting the work as far as what's going to, happen in that property.
So
For people who that might sound complicated to, in the club, do you actually help them set up the LLC?
Absolutely. You talk about the right way to set up your LLC so that you can take advantage of all the tax benefits of being incorporated the right way, as well as also limiting your liability to make sure if something does happen, you're also protected.
Right, it's not your personal
Exactly. They're not coming
liability.
after her personal house or a personal car.
Exactly, yeah.
So I think I wanted to harp on the fact that you're getting the deal funded by a lender that was referred, that has actually funded multi-millions of dollars worth of deals for me in my business over the last 15 years, or the last 5 years, really, right? And they're going to give you 90% of the purchase price. So they're going to give her 90% of the purchase price. She's buying it for, what's the purchase price?
So purchase price is $75 all in after down. So
Okay, so $75,000 purchase price. They're going to give you 90% of that, meaning that the down payment is $7,500 plus closing costs.
Wow, so that was the only cash that was needed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
correction.
Like, really?
Correction.
Yeah.
Correction.
So we're probably at 16.
Because let's make sure we
There's gonna be
factor in everything.
insurance.
Yeah.
So that's just the down payment, but then after that, if there's lawyers'
Closing.
fees, insurance,
Closing,
closing,
yes. Yeah.
taxes.
Exactly.
So they're gonna give her 90% of the purchase price, and they're gonna give her 100% of the rehab cost. So she's giving them a scope of work up front of what the plan is, and they're gonna give her all that money. Now she'll start it and they'll reimburse her. They'll start it and they'll reimburse
They
her.
call that a draw?
A draw
Okay.
system, exactly. So you don't need a lot of money to always do this real estate game. And here's the kicker. the balance that's needed, she got funded by another partner.
Right.
So she's walking into
You
this
up,
deal.
girl.
I know.
Totally
I love it this way. I'm like, you know what? I might have to do this a little
But
bit
the
more.
risk is your credit, though.
It is.
It is a
Correct.
risk for you, too, because
Correct.
I think it always works best when everybody has some type of skin in the game.
Absolutely.
So it can't be like, oh, I have no risk at all, because what's your incentive, right? But that's your credit on the line, and
Absolutely.
that's valuable.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Need
So
alignment.
talk about that
Yeah.
a little bit. I know you help people assess risk, and some of the resources we provide are like risk assessment calculators.
Absolutely.
And you were talking to me about how much you relied the calculator. Oh, I got to put it in the calculator and send it to Sam. Talk about some of the resources the club offers in that
so
way.
if you're part of the club, you get access to our in-house calculators. We have a calculator for fix and flips, a calculator for rental properties, and anytime you're going to buy a property, you absolutely have to put it through the calculator, because it's so easy to forget about different costs when doing a deal. A lot of people, we were just talking about this, right? A lot of people buy a house for, let's say, $100,000. Keep it simple.
Right.
You put $50,000 in renovation, and you're going to sell it for $200,000. They think you're going to make $50,000 on that deal, but in reality, you don't, because there's insurance, like you talked about, closing costs, attorneys, taxes, insurance, utilities, realtors when you go to sell it, right? And so the calculator makes sure you don't forget about any of those costs, so you know going in
Is this worth
What?
where
Is
the
it
deal's
worth it?
worth
What's
it
the
or not.
profit at the end?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because the last thing you want is have to bring money to the table to sell it, because you didn't factor all those costs that are in addition to just the purchase and renovation, and you
Now-
have that in the club.
Yeah, and even being able to find the right contractor, right? Because in order to get this rehab loan approved, they also want to make sure they know what is the company that is going to be rehabbing this for you. Who's the contractor?
Absolutely.
And you
Yeah.
help with
Yeah.
identifying that as well.
Absolutely. We've done this a few times. So we
Over 1,400.
Yeah, over
I know the
1,400.
drill.
Exactly.
Yes,
So
exactly.
we know how to interview contractors. We know how to vet them out. We also know how to manage them the right way. All right. Now, look, I've been burned by contractors. There's no one in the real estate game that's done this more than once that can say that they've never had an issue with the contractor. Right. And I know you've probably had issues with
Oh my
contractors.
gosh, I don't know if I've ever.
Let's
I've never
start.
done anything. Only the first house I ever bought, but I've never had a situation where I had the same contractor. You end up firing
It's always
this
the-
person,
yes.
bringing somebody else
Bad
in.
blood at the
Then
end.
you got to bring in somebody to fix the work the contractor did wrong, who you did hire.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things.
That's the worst.
It's unfortunate,
Yeah.
right? I have this saying, and it's kind of sad, but I had this saying that a lot of contractors are like ice. They all start off great, but eventually a lot of them melt, right?
Yeah.
And it's many of them are short sighted, and that's just a lot of people.
At the end of the
period.
job,
So,
they be missing in action.
Yeah.
You're like, they're on to the next, and
Yeah.
you got all these things that need to get finished,
done.
and they.
yeah, that's some of the reasons. That's one of the benefits of being in the clubs. We teach you how to pay contractors
Yeah.
to minimize that risk. You don't. If someone says I want a 50%, I've had a contractor tell me I want an 80% deposit and
That
give me
sounds
my profit on
crazy.
the end. I'm like, what? If I give you this 80%, what's holding you to actually do the job? Right?
Yeah.
And they
you
will
got your
take
money
that.
up front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only risk you have the only recourse you have is you have to sue them, and it could take a year or two to get to win a lawsuit. And you don't even know if you're going to get anything if you win that lawsuit, right? If you pay them accordingly based off progress completed that week, then you're only paying for work completed, so you're never too far ahead of that contractor to be, susceptible to them running off with your deposit.
And you can put your card down to buy certain
Yes.
items that
Yes,
you need.
that's
Like
what-
if you
yeah.
want to get the HVAC system,
Exactly.
you're like, I could just pay for that, and then you
Yes.
guys install. We'll pay for installation. So that way you also know how much everything is costing.
You're paying for your own materials and letting them
Exactly.
come and do the work.
Exactly. So they ask for that 50 or 80% deposit, right?
Ooh, nope.
Then you're going to say, why do you need that? I'm paying for the materials. Well, I need labor. Okay, well, let me ask you a question. Have you ever worked a job? Did you work for Kinko's? Did you work for Home Depot? Wherever it was. Did they pay you for 3-4 weeks of work and then say, can you pretty please promise to come to work? Or did you work for 1-2-3 weeks and then you got paid? There's no difference here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
One thing I also want you to unpack, you talked about a lender. You talked about very specific lenders. Financing is a part that makes most people nervous. So talk about the ways in which we help people actually find the right lenders, and that you have some that you work with.
Absolutely. Look, so we've done a lot of deals, and people in our program have done a lot of deals. So we've got plenty of vetted lenders. There's good lenders, there's bad lenders, and there's some that are okay. So we happily share our network. So once you're part of the club, our network is now your our network is now your network. So the lenders we've used, we've vetted, that have funded deals and actually closed for us, are now your lenders to use as well. And we tell you what to look for and what not to look for. So if a lender tells you they want a big deposit to start the financing process, that's a red flag for me, right? Because if you need that big deposit, what's to say that you're actually going to do the deal, just like a contractor, right? So I like to pay everybody at closing, right? You'll pay for an appraisal, okay, right? But you pay everyone at closing, so we all make money together when I'm buying this property. And we teach you those systems as well.
Stadina, how would you have done this all alone? How helpful
I know.
was it with the club?
No, it's definitely helpful. I mean, I have some real estate background, but in the fix and flip and contractors and all that, this has been advantageous, especially going through the course curriculum, just learning how to deal with each aspect of the business, because each thing brings different problems. So having that alongside being able to have somebody on speed dial where you can call them and be like, hey, I've ran into this issue, can you please help me with some either resources, or can you come out here and some, I mean, I know that yeah for sure. So that has played a tremendous to my success in this game, for sure.
We saw you on social media this week making a phone call asking for help. So there's really people with you a couple times a week, anytime you need help.
Yep. You can get on a call, call them, cell phone, get on a Zoom, look at a deal, go through the deal analyzer, make sure the numbers make sense, make sure that whatever you're looking at is actually going to be profitable, because we're in this game for profit. We're
Absolutely.
not, so I mean, I love
Let
it.
me ask you about the potential things that could go wrong. Now, let's just say the appraisal comes in, right, and it doesn't appraise for what you thought the value was or what you had agreed to pay for it. Then what happens?
So you go back and, renegotiate,
Yes.
so, hey, look, it's not appraising. Do you want me to buy this property or not? Because obviously somebody else is going to run into the same issue if they go and get financing. So we're already through the process. Do you want to lower the price so we can, both make money, or we're just going to have to walk away from the deal because it's not a good deal. It's not a solid
Sam's
deal.
looking at you like a proud teacher.
Yeah, he does. I think the same thing. And so a lot of times that is contingent on the appraisal coming in.
Of course.
So let's talk about that, because I just want to make sure people understand like all of the things, how to protect yourself and your investment.
Yeah.
If you're putting down money, say you go into contract 10%, but you're still waiting for certain things to happen.
Absolutely. So when you put a property in contract, you're going to have due diligence, right? The first thing you might want to do is either send an inspector or contractor to put a scope of work together, so you know what you're going to be doing to that property and have a good expectation. Check mark. The next thing is you're going to get an appraisal. Most lenders will ask for an appraisal to make sure that the value is what you think it's going to be for your safety as well as for the lender's safety. And if it does come off, a little lower than you planned, you can always go back for a price adjustment. So when you make an offer, it's an offer based on what I know today. But if something comes to light that I wasn't planning for, right, we're going to have another conversation, right? Because this has to be a win-win scenario where I can win and you win as well. And that's how that's the way to do any business, not just real estate. So
Absolutely.
So we were saying, I just want to touch on this before we go, that Sam was looking at you like a proud student. So we are so excited at how many people have signed up for the course, but people, you have to put in the work. You have to check your
Absolutely,
emails. You get emails. You get 2 lives a week where you can ask questions. You're going to learn how to access those lives
And
in
check
your
spam
emails.
too.
Check your spam.
just in case.
And, talk about that.
yeah, so today actually at 6 p.m. For those that are in the
Oh yeah,
club,
free masterclass tonight, everybody.
we're going there answering questions about real estate, right? On last week's class, it was awesome. People were talking about deals that they were doing. They're talking about buying land in the Caribbean. I'm like, let's go, right? So we're talking about real life things that you're dealing with in the real estate space that we can help you from our experience over the years to get your deals done. We're talking about financing, talking about structuring, talking about finding a deal, because that's the first part of this entire equation is actually finding the deal. And we break down these steps based off of a real practice in the business, so that you can go out there and take action in between calls.
So tonight's free masterclass, how can people access that?
Yeah, so if you go to wealthwednesdaysrealestateclub.com,
I'm acting like I don't know.
yeah, or you can actually
I don't have my glasses.
or you can go to Instagram, iam.siam, and the link is in the bio as well.
And
Yes.
you can follow Wealth Wednesdays on Instagram. Again, go to wealthwednesdaysrealestateclub.com or text.
Wealth to 689-215-7664. And that's how you can be part of all of this. But also we do have a Black History Month challenge.
Yes, that's coming up on February 24th
That's
through
right.
28th. And for now, you can do that the same way. Go to wealthwednesdaysrealestateclub.com or text. This week you can text wealth to what's the number?
689-215-7664.
And Sam, before we go, tell us a little bit about the Black History Month Challenge.
Yeah, so it's going to be a 5-day intensive. We're going to be learning everything from how to set up your entity the right way. You're going to learn the fix and flip strategy, the BRRRR strategy we just talked about to build a rental portfolio. We're going to learn about wholesaling real estate. We're going to go through the calculators in detail and actually analyze real live deals together. I'm actually going to bring my lenders right onto the challenge so you can talk to them, ask questions, learn about the financing process, how to qualify. We're going to bring some special guests onto the challenge as well to talk about tax strategies and all sorts of stuff like that. It's going to be amazing, right? If you've ever thought that you were interested in learning about real estate or jumping into the game, come to the challenge, show up, and it's going to be a full intensive and a boot camp, really, of just real estate investing.
Now, what is Tadina's homework for next week?
Yeah.
When we check back
Going
in.
into week, you guys only have 2 weeks to do this.
I know.
Just so you know, no pressure.
All right. So as she's going through the financing process now, before you get to closing, you have to get insurance on the property, right? So she's got to research insurance companies, get the best quote, and make sure she gets the right type of insurance. And then she's also got to start planning out the renovation, start putting the contract with the contractor together, so that she closes, she hits the ground running, and she's ready to take off.
No delays.
Exactly.
And that insurance, you really got to shop because they will give you all different quotes depending on,
And sometimes the lender has insurance, so I love those experiences because you don't have to
Worry
you
about
ain't got to
it.
find it. They
Happen.
got it, and you're good. So yeah, for sure.
So we will be watching. The clock is ticking.
Yes.
2 more weeks. Anthony and Stadina, will they
We're
make it
looking good for
happen?
closing this week.
Yes.
The
This is
pressure's on.
all for you all in Wealth Wednesdays Real Estate Club. We're going to get $100 million worth of real estate done in our community in 2025. To be part of it, go to wealthwednesdaysrealestateclub.com or text the word wealth to 689-215-7664. Was that right?
You don't need glasses.
Thank you. I love her. Thank you.
All right, let's go, y'all. We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys at the challenge, and we'll see you guys in the club. You will not regret it. It'll be one of your best decisions you ever made. If you've ever thought about getting into real estate investing, join now.
Yep. I know that's right.
Way up.